Hello. How is everybody? How is everybody? This is the first show we've done in a minute. My gosh. I miss doing this. Okay. So today, myself and the woman of that night will be bringing you a live pre-show before we start the last of the regional finals here in about an hour. I'm just waiting for him to show up. I'm here right now. It'll be Tiki, Sandra, and maybe my friend Max. It'll be a lot of fun. So let's just start. While we wait for them. Let's start the week by how it all unfolded. So going into the first final, or the first play-in, right? The first play-in that we got to watch was a showdown between. Oh my god, I just had it here. Where's my bracket? Hold on, ill prepared. Oh my gosh, here we go with this again. There we go. No, that's not it. I had it all figured out. My fall from grace. No, hold on. I had it pulled up already. I'm a mess now. Jesus Christ, Alex. Get it together. Okay. Okay. There we go. Okay. So we started this beautiful, beautiful week going with Illinois and Ball State, right? Oh, there's Sandra! Hello, Miss Thing.
Can you hear me?
Yeah, I can hear you. Oh my god, your hair.
Yeah, I think it just looks lighter right now because of the light.
Not you being blonde.
No, I'm really not. I think it's really just the light.
Okay, so since you actually went to Ball State, you want to lead us into did you watch that play-in?
Yes, I did.
How was that for you?
It was good. I mean, they did a good job. It was so close. I didn't expect it to be that close, honestly. They've come a long way.
Yeah, 198 this year.
Yeah. Good old Tennessee meat.
Okay, what? Because we didn't get to talk about this.
Yeah, I don't think that should be a meat.
Legit meat.
That shouldn't count. I mean, I have friends that are coaches on a lot of the teams that went, not just Ball State, and they were like, our scores were inflated. Like, I'm gonna be honest with you. I'm not talking about Ball State. I'm saying the girl that I talked to, she was like, yeah, those scores weren't legit. But hey, we'll take it, take what you can get. But, that was, I mean, they've come a long way. They really have. They are now consistently hitting 196s, and that's just the standard. When I went there, it was a miracle sometimes if we went 194, 195. That was our target. And now the target's 196 and higher for Ball State, which is really cool to see. They've improved a lot.
One thing I wanted to ask you, Catherine and I both wanted to ask you, how do you feel about the scoring this season?
How do I feel about what?
The scoring this season. We wanted to ask Sandra about that, remember?
Oh, well, the scoring and pants. I think that part of the chaos at regionals was that no one could be properly seated because no one was being scored on the same level.
Metric. Where do you land on that, Sandra?
I think that it's kind of funny. They added the the sticking rule where you have to finish, you have to stick, you have to hold your finish for 3 seconds or whatever it is. I feel like they did that to distract everyone from we're not going to take from Reagan Smith's wobble on her beam routine, and we're going to, we're going to pay attention to only the sticks as much as we would pay attention to something yesterday Reagan went 9975 with
a visible wobble.
Visible wobble.
You are absolutely right.
Oh no, but she held her landing. So it's okay, if we're going to make this rule up, then we also need to apply the other rules that we had previously. We don't just focus on one thing now and just throw everything else out the window. As long as she held her stick, it's a 10.
So do you think it's it's a way of taking a deduction where otherwise you would have taken it from somewhere else in the routine?
Yeah, it's just
Oh, Catherine fell.
Oh no.
But yeah, so for me, it's one of those things just write your own code.
Yeah.
There's Catherine. Just write your own code. At this point, write your own code. Because you're taking deductions that are in the JO code, which then you are not
How was denying that?
Yeah. Yeah. So there's that. So Ball State. Okay. I have an issue with Ball State because it broke my bracket. Broke my bracket from the get go. Bracket broken. Did you
Yeah.
make a bracket?
No, I didn't. I had one in my head. It was already broken when Penn State made it over.
That was gaggy.
Yeah, that's crazy. And
Catherine,
then
did you make a bracket?
I did not make a bracket because I feel like I don't have enough investment to, but I mean, it might come from the fact that I went to a super sports powerhouse basketball school where like you really had to be invested in the March Madness. And so
Yeah.
I'm kind of like, do I really want to go through this with another sport?
Fair. So okay. So Illinois made it over Ball State. And then
which is kind of funny because Natalie Walsh was the old Ball State head coach.
oh
So
really?
yeah, and I'm surprised no one mentioned that on the broadcast, but I was like, that's Natalie going against her old where she
That meet was really good though. Illinois was so solid.
They were. And then we got the showdown between Iowa State and Clemson.
Oh yeah, I expected Clemson to make it.
Me too. That they were on my bracket. Bet you know what? Ashley, is that her name? No,
Who are you talking about? The head coach?
the
Amy?
head coach. No, the one for Iowa.
Oh, I don't know that one.
Oh my gosh, she was a commentator.
Miles Greaves, Ashley
Miles Greaves. Yeah, she really showed up and shot both first year coaches.
Oh wow.
And Ashley ended up winning. There goes Catherine again. Ashley ended up winning, and I don't want to touch on the Amy Smith abuse stuff. I've talked about it to death, but hopefully it has been rehabilitated since then. But then we had Boise State against BYU, and BYU surprised the hell out of me.
I didn't watch that one. It's the only one I really missed.
Okay, Catherine, go ahead and restart. BYU took it, and I was ecstatic for them because we're always watching the BYU Florentines, like the Barbie one, which had a great impact on the sport last year. And then for them to really put it all together and then make it through, I was ecstatic for them.
Yeah, that's true.
And then the one that had me gagged the entire time was Southern Utah against San Jose State.
And Southern Utah made it.
Yeah, that was a great one.
Really?
It came down to the wire. And then I had San Jose on my bracket, which again broke the bracket. So that was the great meet. Now the second round, we'll start with Alabama, Michigan, Kent State, and Penn State.
Yes.
That was a meet.
That was last night. No. That was
on
Wednesday?
on the 4th.
What was that?
That was Thursday. Hold on. Let me get my calendar out. That was on Thursday. Yeah.
And then Alabama and Penn State.
State made it through and eliminated Michigan.
Yeah, that one was crazy.
National champions, Michigan, out.
I know. Now, I saw something on Twitter that was like,
Pokey, I'm adding the link in the chat so you can join. Go ahead.
I saw something like every year they didn't make it to a certain round. Every year it got worse and worse.
Do you think that's a regression as a team as a whole, or the fact that they've been so reliant on their seniors?
I think it's the seniors.
Yeah. Because once Naomi Morrison went down, what do you do?
Yeah. No, I think a lot of teams rely on like their upperclassmen to lead the way, and then once you lose them, it's kind of like you have to rebuild for a second.
Okay, talking about rebuilding. Will you explain what rebuilding really means as opposed to the idea people have of rebuilding from the ground up?
I mean, I was told I was part of a rebuilding year when I went to Georgia. I knew that going into it, like this is our rebuilding year. Which now that I think about it, kind of is like, oh wait, I thought it kind of comes off you can take it one way or another, I guess
Yeah.
you could say. I think it's more of just like you have a lot of talent on your team, but a lot of your talent's very young.
Yeah.
So you kind of expect like silly mistakes. So I think that's why they call it a rebuilding year, because we know we're not going to be at our peak, which is kind of like offensive because you're like,
Yeah.
we're going to be part of the rebuilding team. I'm like, oh, okay.
Oh my God, here's this Pokey.
Hey,
Head.
how are you? Sorry, I'm actually out and about right now, so I just wanted to pop in though because so many things happened yesterday.
Can we celebrate how great Georgia was?
Yes,
But
Yes.
yeah.
no
Oh
one's going to talk about that. But
Lily Smith deserves whatever Courtney salary is for the next year, but because what's it called? Lily will get the bar spot, right? She beat Amara, right?
Yeah, she did.
She beat Mara.
Yeah, I mean, look, hey, look, I got to give them credit though, because I think they are a story now. I hate saying this, but postseason affects how perception is coming into the new year, right? So like,
Yes.
they're really set up real well, you know. And I think you're right. I think they're not going to get the credit that they deserve, but they were right there with them. It wasn't like a fluke, in my opinion, you know. Um,
Yeah.
there's some like real quality.
Sandra, will you speak to the effect, the whole like Courtney will lose her job if they do poorly?
I feel like it's not really my place to say anything. I have a lot of respect for that whole coaching staff. I think they are.
Because you've
They
been under them.
Yeah, and I think it's just hard. Like, they are rebuilding, and as you can see, they did a great job at the very end. Obviously, if you do that a little bit earlier, it makes it a little bit easier to go up a couple tenths as you keep going. But I mean, I respect all of them, all of the coaching staff, and I would never want anyone to lose their job. And it's hard because your job is in the hands of 18 to 22-year-olds.
Yeah.
It's really hard. She's trying her best. Ryan's trying his best. Sam's trying his best. Molly's trying their best. Like, they're all working hard. And, it's just, I don't know what's going to happen. I hope everything works out.
it's saying
Oh,
She
no.
dropped. I think she was saying that it there's a lot to be said about the Jim Turnette's self righteousness to an extent.
Absolutely. A lot of things are easier said than done, right?
Yeah.
Um,
Like the whole Selena thing.
Exactly. It's a lot easier when you're on your couch saying this stuff than the pressure and things happen in meets. Like
Yeah.
you can't blame sometimes things just happen, right?
Some people fall.
Yeah, sometimes your steadiest competitor falls, right? Sometimes Emily Lee doesn't hit, stuff like
Yeah.
that. So it's like stuff like that where it's very easy to be able to go off on people. But that's why with the Georgia situation, I think honestly I'm happy though, because I also too, I said it in chat yesterday, to see a team that is, I wouldn't even say rebuilding, but that has struggled so much over the past couple of years, and then of course that allows fodder to fester in this community.
Yeah.
You know that.
Yeah.
So for them to be able to get to a place where they almost took them out, and it wasn't a fluke. It wasn't through the judge's favorite. I know it was through some real quality
And
work.
I love the fact that everybody stepped up.
Yeah. Yeah,
Everybody
and
stepped
it
up.
wasn't Lily Smith and her friends. It was that whole team.
Yeah.
I think, sorry not to transition away from it, but I think as we also talk about everything that's happened, I think UCLA has to deal with this issue. This isn't Selena Harris and her friends, right?
No.
This is you can't just depend on one star.
And the thing is, we knew that going into this year when Jordan said she was going to defer, Anna said she was going to defer, and it all comes down to the fact that for a while they were shuffling lineups trying to find something that worked, and it just happened too late in the season, I think.
Yeah, and I would also argue I love UCLA 4, but there are 4 events. Yeah. We can hype it up. Yeah, let me be clear. I love me Brooklyn Moores. I would love if she made a random comeback and Emma and Aaliyah and all of them decided, screw it, we're actually going to go for a team spot. I would love that. I would love that chaos. Let me be clear. But that doesn't win NCAA championships, right? You need a proper bar set. I mean, look, and also even the beam team. I mean, I know everyone loves Emma Andres. I totally get it. But once I started seeing her in the lineups as a not a like let's throw her in there, right, and see how this goes, but more so of a dependency, I really thought for UCLA, I'm like, wait, you can't depend on Emma and Selena to show up and throw up big numbers to cover some other things. Like I think respectfully for even the UCLA stuff, you saw those warning signs. Whether or not we wanted to acknowledge them or they got washed out is another. But I would argue a lot of this season, it got washed out by, oh, look, we got a 49-8 or whatever it is on floor or whatever. You know what I mean? Like some big thing that prevented us from really, acknowledging the rest.
And the thing is, like, girls like Paige and Anastasi, I feel like they weren't given the opportunity to really show up because they might have been hurt. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Oh, that's the other thing.
Sarah Julius.
Yeah, so many of them. The list goes on and on, right? So it's either you acknowledge that, hey, this year is a full development year, or you go because I think they wanted to straddle the fence. I think honestly, that they wanted to be one, but they weren't willing to accept it. So you get people even like oh my god, I forget Frida. Is that her name? Yeah. Well, look, let me be clear. She was hopping on those dismounts for what?
Because her knee.
Yeah, but that's if you were able to get her in earlier in the season, right? That might have been a hey, do we reconfigure this routine, right? This isn't a throw in towards the end, and then you have no time to regroup. You know what I mean? Like she should what should have happened this season is hey, throw her in or throw in for an exhibition, see how those landings are going, and then if not, let's reestablish and see if there's any other option here. Like as in what Florida did with Riley, right?
Yeah. Sandra, how do you feel about composition stuff?
I mean, like, are you talking about like on bars as far as like
if something's not working for you, like how do you feel like changing it in the middle of the season?
Oh, I love that. I know I had a problem actually with front lay front falls on floor. Like I would do them fine in warm up. I'd do it fine in the touch, and as soon as the meet happened in elite too, as soon as the meet like I start competing on floor, I'm just really quick twitch, and I'd go front lay and I'd front half instead of front full. So I was like, and I actually did change it. I competed in Paris, did the front lay front half on accident, and then I went to Belgium and I changed it to a front full first. Front full front pike, because I was like, I know it's gonna happen. Like it happened at Ball State. It happened in inter squads at Georgia, and I was like, I'm done. I'm so tired of doing this because it takes me out of a lineup because my start value goes down. So then we changed, and I did a full in the middle of the season at Georgia, from a 3-pass routine to a 2-pass routine in the middle of the season, and I was so much happier with it. So I'm fine with changing it.
That's great. I feel like that's how it should be, though. Like you should. This is not a hey. This is my routine for the season, and you. That's very gymnastics of the past.
That was the problem. Is I fought that with like the coaches at Ball State because they were like, "No, we're not changing it. We're not changing it. You can do it." And I'm like, "No, I actually can't." And it's like, "No, like just because something doesn't work, we're not just gonna like change it." And I get that. Like let's figure out. Let's not just give up, which is fine. But it happened at least like 6 times. So I'm like, okay, it's gotten to the point where it happens really consistently. So it's not like I'm giving up. It's let's try something different because I would like to compete because I know I can help my team if I hit my routine the way I know how to hit. So let's take this pass out because it's not working. Let's do something else that's clean and gives me a 10 start value. And they were not very happy with changing it in the middle of the season. But at Georgia, I was able to change in the middle of the season, and it was great.
Do you think that speaks to like coaching overall? Because I mean, it has to be discouraging for an athlete who knows it can do it, but like when it comes down to it, it's just not working.
I think it's like coaches being in their ways and not willing to change, like not willing to accept that, like, okay, well, this does work better for her, but we're in the middle of the season, we can't do it. Like, who cares if it's Christmas, if it's Easter, it doesn't matter what time of year it is. Just let me change the past. We're changing one thing, and I'm getting a brand new floor routine. Like, it's literally a pass. It's kind of silly, but I think if something's not working for you and you've tried it multiple times, then you should be able to change it.
Like it's kind of an ego thing.
I don't know what it is, but I think it's like, like an old thing. Maybe that's how they were coached. Like, the coaches never
it sounds very much like a Bella Caroli would be like, no, you're doing this again and again and again, and then you hit an event finals, and then therefore they were right the whole time. You know what I mean? Like,
oh my god, yeah.
It sounds like that,
Yeah. Where are you, Pokey?
So, not to dox myself, but I live in Manhattan. So, I am unfortunately, I literally am sitting on a corner talking about this because regionals was such a mess, and I think it requires
Yeah.
a debrief.
Yeah, it does. Okay, so let's go back to like the bracket. Okay. So let's go over Utah, no, Oklahoma, North Carolina, Ohio State, and Illinois. An off meet for Oklahoma, kind of. I guess we can say that.
An off me, but still like really
A
good.
198. But okay, I do want to ask you your thoughts. The 198, 875.
I didn't see that meet, but that sounds bizarre.
It was a lot.
Was it real?
Well, I mean, was
I would
Jordan
I
Bowers
would
310s?
I would argue that should have been like an actual NCAA final 198.45.
At max.
Yeah. No, but it's getting to a point where like, look, I think I am a certified OU hater. I've been very clear about this. However, they deserve some of the scores that they get.
Yeah.
But sometimes they get a little like a little too happy with these 10s because like, oh, one or two of these are, so let's give everyone else a 995 instead. You know what I mean? It's or a 998. You know,
Like that one meet, they all went they went 9975 back to back on bars. Listen, I'm all here for doing the least amount of gymnastics, but doing it well, which is what KJ has figured out how to do.
yeah, absolutely.
But it comes to a point where, like, okay, if you're gonna do the least amount of gymnastics, if you have a wobble or a balance check, you have to take it.
Yeah, that's where it's more so if you're going to actually, and or more so it's like, for me, what angers me is the smaller things. So for example, on bars, I loved Reagan so much, but she has a small separation in her pack. And is that really accurately going to be, done?
And then the whole like the judge's angle. Well, then move them around, sister.
Yeah, that too. I think it's also like I don't know. I think this honestly speaks more to a bigger picture. Like, does the code need to be changed? Because I look here, as much as
there is no code. They don't have a code.
No, you know what I mean, though. But does rules need to be changed? Because as much as I hate, I also cannot blame KJ for saying,
no.
Guess what? I want to optimize this as much as possible. And here, you may have deductions on this skill, but it's the deduction they actually won't take consistently or succinctly, right? Or it's supposed to be one, but they actually give you a half. You know what I mean? Like, it's stuff like that where I can't blame her for doing that. Why can't I? But at the same time, then it gets to a point of, okay, like, what are we doing this for? To be honest with you guys, I barely watched. My heart and focus was in that Arkansas regional final. The
so
OU
let's talk
one,
about that one.
The OU one, I was like, okay, great. Like they're like they needed a fall, respectfully to the other two teams, but they needed a fall and they needed to count 2 falls in my head for them to not at least get second. So I was like, you know what, like unless like catastrophe happens, which which isn't OU anyway.
So let's talk Kentucky, Arkansas, LSU, Minnesota. Did you watch, Sandra?
Yes.
Give me your thoughts on, first off, the Weaver fever of it all.
She's really built that program up.
Since 2018, the last time they made a nationals, 2018. And last time, I think all of us collectively just have the image of Jordan Weaver bawling because when she realized she didn't make the all-around final I'm getting chills, at the Olympics, and then she was forced to do media by the NBC people, even though she didn't want to do media, and we just saw her crying on international television. And then to have that bookend now, went from tears of tribulation to tears of jubilation, to know that she had coached a team, a complete team. Why am I crying? To nationals, like, I think that in and of itself really speaks to how the entire meet went. Because it was, like you said earlier, building and building and building and building and building. And at the end, you got the result that you wanted. Having been in the situation, how do you feel about that?
I mean, it's really cool to see what she's like done to this program and all the coaches, because it takes an army of people. It's not just one person.
It's a village.
So it's really cool to see what she's done. And I mean, I feel so bad for Kentucky because that was, and there's this one girl I really like on that team. I think her name's Kreslin.
Yeah, Crescent.
Oh my gosh, her floor routine. Her floor routine, one time I was watching with my mom. My mom doesn't really know a lot of gymnastics, but she's like, "I'm tired just watching her." Her
Because
floor
she's moving the entire time.
is moving, and she's
Wait,
so energetic, and it's so good.
is
I'm
this
like,
the girl who has the Kennedy Baker mashup of all her Kennedy Baker's floor music?
I think so.
Got it.
I think I'm not sure, but she's so good. I think she's only a freshman too. But she's just so fun to watch, and I had never really seen her. I feel like it's always been about Reina, which respectfully, she's amazing, so
Yeah.
I understand, but I had never, like, really paid attention to a lot of them just because it was like, "Reina, Reina, Reina." But then I watched a little bit, and I was like, "Oh, I really like this girl." Like, she's really, like, energetic and fun, and she's good, and she's so
Cap-
young too.
Captain said Arkansas was actually pretty good before Jordan also. Yeah, but I mean, this is and I no poo-pooing on Arkansas's legacy or whatever, but I think for the longest time at the beginning of the season, we were calling for Jordan Weaver to be like dismissed from her job. A lot of gym tournament was, and then I mean, collectively we said let him cook, and just to see how last season was like a 196, 195 sort of thing, to then 197, 197, 197, 198, 197. Just it's one of those things like Kentucky had a stellar beginning of the season. Kentucky came out swinging. Kentucky did the damn thing, did the great ball, did the work, the foundational work this entire season, and it just came down to landings. Arkansas sucked almost every beam dismount.
Mhm. Yeah.
Those Yurchenko fools, they're going into nationals without a 10.
Yeah.
I think they're the only team that is going into nationals without a 10.
Yeah.
Well, Arkansas.
Yeah.
Arkansas has Lauren Williams.
Yeah,
Oh,
but
you mean like a 10 on a event? You mean?
Yeah.
Sorry, I thought you meant a 10 star value. I'm like, wait,
No. They have never had a 10.
Yeah.
So it's one of those things like, I think it speaks to the collective quality of gymnastics as a whole, as opposed to one standout.
Yeah, I honestly, I think yesterday's performance was, I think, a really good showing across. I think the unfortunate part for Kentucky too is when you think about how they performed, it really did come down to, and I'll give credit that the judges were taking what they should have been on steps on landing, right?
Yeah.
Like a little thing here, a little thing there. Like, you know, Rain, you could very clearly see it in, you know, Raina scores, like Worley scores. Right, that
Yeah.
they actually took them, and therefore, unfortunately, that megawatt score they usually get, yeah, it's still a good score, but adds up. I think the other thing too is I saw some fodder online about home scoring. I'm going to be completely honest. I actually do not think they got much, let alone enough that it would have been a deciding factor. Like, if you want to be generous, like if you really want to get into it, sure, but we're talking about a 4/10 separation.
And we're talking about like if home scoring was a real thing this time around, Michigan wouldn't have been eliminated.
That's another factor. You can't have it both ways, right? So it's not like, oh, they didn't have it there, but they had it here, right? You can't do that. But then also when I actually took the time to look back and you think about it, you're right, all those beam stuff. Like I could very solidly identify in Arkansas the 2 half-tenths that they took off in each routine, like very solidly. Kentucky, I would argue, had the same level of, they have a small, very small little built-in deductions, right? But they didn't have the steps or the tiny little adjustments. Like that's really what it came down to. And also just to wrap it all up, and then I'm gonna hop off. But just to wrap it all up too, look, LSU should be happy with how they did.
Yeah,
however,
they should.
Arkansas also didn't have the most perfect meet. They had a pretty damn good one, but there are at least 2 tenths I saw yesterday that they could have picked up, right? So don't assume that as LSU that this is all akin. Now, look, that also means Arkansas has to do what they did and then actually be perfect. Be perfect. I'm not saying it's a shoo-in, don't get me wrong, but I'm really happy for this team. I think also when you think about it, yes, they got it in 2018, but that's when they did Super 6, right?
Yeah.
So that also really, hey, actually, was actually, in all fairness, probably even tighter of a competition for them to get through. So I think it's going to be really good for them because even let's say, like they get 8th in Elite 8, like they rank 8th. You're going into the season Number 8, you have Jocelyn Robertson coming in, who will kill in NCAA, because yes, she may not have the prettiest lines, of course, but let me be clear, in NCAA, that girl will be walking home. Yeah, she's going to be walking home with, like, she could gym slam on pretty much every event if she wanted to. Yes, her bars may not be the prettiest, but they could easily get a bar set together for her. You know what I mean? That really gets it together. That shows up what she needs, which I think I will also give Kyla and Jordan a lot of credit. That I think you can see it in their beam sets actually a lot of, like, hey, that's their skill selection. But I look, Kentucky, it's tough, right? But because it's when you think about the season. But I also, like, look, they lost. This is their third meet with Arkansas, right? The actual dual meet, SECs.
Arkansas won
both times. So
both times.
This isn't a, oh my God, I can't believe, like, this isn't a Penn State situation, right? This is a, hey, this is something that has happened before. This had to be a known factor. I'm not saying it was likely, but I think, unfortunately for the Kentucky fans, it wasn't their best night. And I think with these regionals, you need to have your best night every night now. Like,
you do. You have to hit when it comes down to it. It's the day of.
Like,
it comes down to the day of.
Think about UCLA. It's not like they scored a 196-2 and we're like, oh, we didn't get through. They scored a 97-1, right? And that would win some home meets. Not home meets, but they would win some meets. You know what I mean? Like, it's not like they had the worst possible day, but they just didn't have a great day. That's the nature of the beast. So I don't know. I'm looking forward. I'm really proud of Arkansas.
We haven't even talked about Minnesota.
Oh yeah, yeah. Oh my, yeah, they were there. They were there the whole time too.
They were.
Yeah.
They were. So, I'll let you go, Pokey, so you don't have to, like, talk in the street. But, Sandra, Minnesota, what happened there?
I can't really speak to Minnesota that much because I didn't really pay attention to them. Honestly, I'd never really watched a lot of Minnesota. Like, I was just like Maya Hooten, but then that's really all. So I can't say anything because I didn't focus really on them because there's so much going on. And then I'm like, oh, when this is happening, I have a whole nother meet pulled up that I was trying to pay attention to. But I can't.
Can we talk about the whole, like, overlapping of so many meets?
Not even that, but like the way they stream it. It's like this little box, and I'm like, I cannot see. I like have a tablet this close to my face trying to watch. Like, put it on the TV. I'm like, no, because I can't even see unless I'm standing right up to the TV.
Yeah, and I listen to all my viewers who are overstimulated really easily. I am the same way, so I get it. I hate the overlap. I hate having to do a triple screen.
Yeah.
But that's the nature of the beast. The ball sports, they have like an aux screen, They get to see all their games at once. And it's easier, I guess, to follow that when it's chasing a ball. But this is flipping and twisting and, doing gymnastics. So it's difficult to be able to focus on one, much less two, much less six screens going on at the same time. So I get it. But I also, I'm kind of happy to be able to provide that for people. It's a double-edged sword. Okay, let me ask about your thoughts on LSU.
I think they're gonna get second.
You do?
I think Oklahoma's gonna win because Oklahoma is so good, but I think LSU's gonna get second.
But we haven't talked about Cal.
I don't pay attention to them. I only have so much time to watch gymnastics. Like,
yeah, because you are training yourself.
I'm very, very busy, so I don't really have a whole ton of time. I didn't watch Cal all season.
They've been amazing.
But yeah, I mean, they are where they are now, so they must be very good.
And LSU and Cal have been trading off 2 and 3 the entire season.
Okay. Well, I don't know. I mean, I'm sure if I watched Cal,
you get to watch it today.
Oh yeah, what time is that at?
They're starting here in 30 minutes.
30 minutes. Okay.
30 minutes. Yeah.
Yeah, so that'll be kind of like my first time watching them.
Let's see. Let me give you guys a rundown of the schedule for today. Gainesville is first. Gainesville, which will be Florida, Utah, Michigan State, and Missouri. Give me your thoughts on Michigan State.
I mean, they surprised me last year. And I feel like if they are on, but I don't think Florida is going to lose at home. That's just, I don't think the judges would ever let Florida lose at home. Again, like
we said that about Michigan.
Yeah, but it's Florida. I don't know. I feel like Florida just, has a
And then the Mizzou of it all, the Jocelyn Moore of it all, the Amari Drayton, I'm not Drayton, Celestine of it all.
mhm.
Like those girls are good too.
I know, I know. And Florida does get a little overscored. Like their
Yeah.
vaults were definitely overscored on the
What do you
other.
think it's going to take to win this meet? For the two teams to win this meet, this Gainesville regional.
I think it's going to come down to sticks and like just not having those little like wobbles. Like
Because with Utah's a beam team. Utah is a beam team. You have Miley O'Keefe. You have Grace McCallum. You know what I mean? That
Mhm.
on paper, that's an unbeatable team.
Yeah.
It is. But we've seen cracks in the armor from that team. I'm glad that they have Carly Dockendorf now. I appreciate her coaching. I can't fully get behind that team because of the bias I have towards them and the whole taking down of pictures from the wall and all that. Can't really get behind that. But I will be remiss if I didn't say that that's a great team.
Mhm.
They do good gymnastics. It's very much COU of it all. They do minimal gymnastics and they do it well.
Mhm.
So there's that. And then finally we have the the Berkeley regional final, which is Cal, Denver, Arizona State, and Stanford. How do you feel about that matchup?
Those are teams that really I don't watch a lot of those teams, but if I had to guess, I'd say Denver and Cal are gonna make it out.
Yeah, which is kind of like sad for the UCLA of it all.
Yeah, yeah,
Or Arizona State, they're a good team as well.
yeah. I didn't expect them to make it to this far. I was shocked because I didn't watch them.
Yeah.
So.
So tell people what you've been up to.
Oh gosh, what I've been up to.
Yes.
Well, I've been training. I've been in school. I've been driving so much because I train in 2 different locations that are very far from each other. And I'm going to Egypt 2 weeks from today. Yeah.
So while
Yeah.
you're going to Egypt, I'll be going to Fort Worth.
Oh, right. I know.
Yeah. I invited Sandra to go with us to Nationals, but she's busy. She's a
Yes.
cosmopolitan queen.
Mhm.
Booked and busy she is.
She is busy. I actually booked my flight today. So, yeah, going to Egypt and then gonna go compete in Morocco and hopefully
Will we
do.
get to watch you?
I don't know. Did you reach out to those people?
I didn't get an email back.
That's not really surprising, just because it's kind of hard with everything that's going on. So I feel like maybe I can try and find out on my end if there's a
Please
stream.
do. Because we would love to watch you. We'd love to stream it. Because,
Oh, a stream.
that's going to be an amazing meet. I mean, that's a group of girls going there.
Yeah.
I want to know, because your insight fascinates me, how do you feel you're doing?
I mean, I think I'm doing the best that I can do with the setup that I have.
Yeah.
You know,
It's difficult. You're training alone all the hours.
I train by myself besides Friday, Saturday, Monday. And I'm basically just taking videos of myself and watching it back, and that's how I'm making corrections based off of what I think I am doing wrong. So I think sometimes that's really hard. But when I train Friday, Saturday, Monday, like in a gym, like a couple hours away, that's really helpful for me. And so just being around, at least having a coach and being around people is really helpful for me. But
Because
it's
you're a
just
social butterfly.
yeah. So just like the setup that I have now is difficult, but at the end of the day, like that doesn't matter. It's just what
Chat, will you tell her? Will you guys in the chat tell her like how much we support her and how much we would love to watch like a live training session with her? Like we would love to cheer you on. And if you do it on TikTok, people would like send you gifts and whatnot. I bet money on that.
done like a live on TikTok before. I was like, because sometimes I would like do routine and then I'd watch it and then I'd get a text and I'd get distracted and I'm like, okay, I'm just gonna set my phone up because then I can't go on my phone after. So I like, set my phone up and I was just on live for a little bit. And I don't know who was on or how many people were on, but I have done that before. But
I think you should, and you know what? I think it would help with like the nerves of it all because I mean you're live and like Got it. It would help with pressure sets. I think that's
Yeah,
fascinating.
I did some pressure sets yesterday, which was actually good, and then they had me do a cold beam routine at the very end of practice. So that was oh gosh, felt like I was back in I guess college again.
Yeah.
They do these random like, all right, everyone, we're going to bars. We're gonna do a bar routine. I'm like, oh,
So
yeah,
how are the skills feeling good?
yeah. I mean, it's just at this point, it's just I just want to be clean and
Yeah.
confident. I'd say.
We watched your floor, and I know I gave you kind of crap for it, but
Well, I'm actually getting a new floor routine now.
I'm literally gonna fly there, and like I'm gonna hate you.
Well,
Like
they
what?
well they don't like the music, which it's so hard because I love the music. I know. They just told me that like the other day, and I was like, oh
Did you
no.
show them the music I sent you?
They sent me music. They
Oh,
yeah, they were
what
like,
is it? Can we know?
I can send it to you. I don't even know what it's called. I actually had it in JO years ago.
Oh, really?
Yeah, and so they want to they need to change because my music changes 2 different times, and they
Yeah.
showed a panel of judges, and they were just like, it's not like we're taking I think I was like they were taking like 7/10 of artistry, and then same with beam. I was getting so many artistry deductions just because of my dance was like step step pose. It didn't
Yeah.
flow, and like when you don't have a coach a lot, it's hard. I don't know
Yeah.
that stuff. So I'm like, oh. So I'm
It,
like trying to make it flow better. And then like if I put my foot down like to do like a side aerial, if I put it down and then I lift it up to do the lunge, that's a deduction because as soon as I'm like, so what am I supposed to do? Just keep my foot in the air till I'm ready to put it down?
yeah. Yeah.
Oh my goodness.
And then
So
you have to like fill the air with like the artistry presentation we watched, and Catherine and I make fun of this a lot. It's like you have to go from A, take a little vacation at C, and then
yeah,
go to B.
yeah,
So you have to keep it flowing. And it's
I know.
so. Do you think it's a lot more difficult to go NCAA to elite as opposed to elite NCAA?
No, I think it's probably I mean, yeah, I think it's more difficult. I think it's easier to go to elite to NCAA because you can water down a lot of your stuff.
Yeah.
You don't need to have 2 different releases on bars or 3 different releases on bars. It's a very simple balloon pack pirouette AA dismount, versus like everything else you need to have just to build up your difficulty. So
Does it frustrate you sometimes?
yes, it does. Definitely
But
does.
do you feel good about your chances?
I mean, I don't know what everyone else is doing at the end of the day. I
And
can't
it shouldn't matter, right?
can't keep track of what everyone's doing. I only know really what I'm doing, and so I don't really know what my chances look like. I'm just gonna go there and do the best that I can do, and
Good.
it could be my very last meet of my career. So I just want to end on a high note and just hit 4 for 4.
So okay, let's talk about that. In the event that it doesn't go well,
hmm
and that's it, like, what does life after gymnastics look like?
That's a good question. I mean, I'm looking to get a job in medical device sales. I think. I want to try out that industry. I'm getting my master's in PR right now, so I
Oh
mean,
my
it's
god,
really
go work for the royal family. Because I mean, listen, that was a disaster.
that was a disaster. I don't know if I want to go. I don't know if I want to go live in another country, but I
Duck.
definitely, yeah, yeah, I have some connections in medical device sales right now, which I'm really grateful for, and they're just like focused on gymnastics right now. Like we'll be here when you're done, so which is really nice. So I'm not sure yet, but I'm hoping something good.
Yeah. Well, I
So
mean, you're a social butterfly. Wherever you land, you'll blossom and thrive. I have no doubts about that.
thanks.
You have such a great light about you. But
Thanks.
I mean, the gymnastics world will miss you if it
hmm
doesn't go well. But now, say it does go well,
hmm
because I mean, there's a very good possibility you will win that spot.
Yeah, it's just
You have to
depends on
hit,
the
just
day. It
hit.
really depends on the day and who's
Yeah,
on. You just got to be on.
because
You,
we've seen the other girls. Jenna Abdeslam did well, but didn't do her best at the last couple we saw her at.
yeah. I mean, there's a couple. There's another one girl, Judy. I think I haven't met them all yet, but
Yeah,
she's going to be going as well. I don't know all of them just
the
because.
Moroccan girl who changed nationalities.
Yeah.
But when it comes down to, and I respectfully, not the most consistent of field of girls. Like you said, it's the day of.
Yeah, it is. It's all about the day of. Like, that's why it's like with the way I've like had to train and like what my setup is. It's like it's not about me having the most difficult gymnastics because I'm not gonna have that. I'm just gonna go for what I know how to do, what's comfortable and what I can do clean. Like I'm not like I was doing full-ins for a while, but that gives me 1/10 over a double pike. It's not worth it. I'm gonna get probably 3/10 because my legs separate on the full-in when I grab my legs on the tuck. So it's like it's just not worth it. And
And that's smart that you know that. That's a good thing that you know that.
yeah. So I mean, but those some judges also are like, well, she did just do an E pass. Like we're not gonna hit her so hard on the like her leaps and jumps and all that stuff. So I mean, it can hurt me, but it can also help me at the end of the day. It's just I don't know. I'm doing whatever I can do to, just have a good day and hit, and the rest is not in my control.
I like that mentality. So say you do qualify, will you upgrade then?
Oh yeah, I'd probably do that.
Good. Good. Oh, Sandra, I want you to know, like, you are so well supported. Like, the gym trend actually like really likes you, and they really support your journey. And we just want the best for you. We really do. Much like the girls today here at 15 minutes. So, last thoughts before we go into this last two finals. What are your hopes, your dreams, your critiques, your, you know,
I want to see you
commentary?
meet with no falls.
No falls,
No falls. Yeah, because I think at this
no
point.
injuries, please.
Yeah, no. And I think we've been pretty good in the clear without these injuries, so
Yeah,
pretty good. I just want everyone to just be confident in their gymnastics and just do what they know how to do, and whatever
you're so
happens.
nice.
I don't want to see a mess.
No,
I
you're
just
so nice. You're like, I just want everybody to be thankful and happy to be there.
want everyone to
Hit
have
4 for 4. No, I see. I'm more of just like, I want everybody to step there, and I sorry for my language. This is something my ex co-host used to say. I want everybody to step their pussy up. I want everybody to step their pussy up. I want people to just step the cookie and just get it done. You want to. I have this mentality of like, you want to go for it, then go for it, sister. Go
Yeah.
for it. And I've told this before. Like, I want people to just do their best gymnastics, put it all on the floor, so that way when it all is over, you can't be like, I wish I would have done this. I wish I would have done that. I wish I would. Put it out there, and if you fall, you fall. But at least you did your best gymnastics. Like I think that's what MSU has done. They've gone balls to the wall. They've done their best gymnastics on their highest toe. And like Jessica Burns said the other day, when it comes down to it, is are you relevant as fuck? You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Are you pointing your toes? Are you Captain Cooper said, I want chaos. Give us ASU Dark Horse to Fort Worth.
Oh my.
See, Sandra's way nicer than I am.
I've
I'm not.
been in that position, and
Yeah,
I
you
don't.
have.
I don't want them to feel like it's scary, and you know
It
what's on
is.
the line, so it's
It
not
is. It is.
a fun feeling. It's just like it's fun once it's over. Like I don't think competing is very fun. I think it's fun once it's over, and you're like, oh, that was okay. But in the moment, your heart's like this, and you're like,
Yeah.
oh gosh, it's like an out of body experience.
I never competed at your level, but like having competed before, I just remember like blacking out
Yeah, it's
because it
just
really is muscle memory at the end of the day.
yeah.
And it just I can't remember one time actually like where I was like competing and was in the moment.
Yeah.
Do you think that's like kind of like a crappy part about gymnastics? It's like in the moment you don't remember anything.
Yeah. I'm trying to remember if I remember anything like
Right?
moment. I just remember feeling like my heart was racing. I remember that feeling.
Because the adrenaline and then like remembering your technique in the air and all that and the muscle memory, you don't have time to like take it all in.
Mm-hmm.
Because you're just going automatically. Like I don't. I mean, mind you, it has been like almost 2 decades since I competed last. So it's one of those things like I just don't remember. I can't tell you a moment where I was like, oh yeah, I remember that moment. Blah 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 blah. No, you don't.
Mm-hmm.
You go into the void and you're in the void the entire meet.
Yeah.
That's what they talk about the bubble. So
Yeah.
okay.
Well, thanks
So
for having me.
yeah, thank you, Sandra. It's always a pleasure to have you on.
Thank you.
I adore you. I want you to have the best season ever. Please let us know if there's anything we can do for you, and just kick some ass, girl.
Thank you.
Go slay the house on boots,
Thanks.
and keep us up to date, please.
Okay, I will.
And let us know about the stream.
Okay. All right.
right.
I will. Have a good night.
Have a good night. And watch with us.
Okay. All right. Bye.
Bye, Sandra. That was great, y'all. Oh, I love Sandra so much. And Pokey, thank you so much. Tiki was in traffic. She couldn't join us. Max is Max. That's who I'll be staying with in Fort Worth with Max. But yeah, y'all, we are less than 10 minutes away. So let's end this show. And I will then come back with the stream ready for the gymnastics. Can we get a... I'm working on it. So yeah. Oh God. My heart is racing right now for what's about to come. One more time, it'll be Denver, Arizona State, Cal, and Stanford. But first, we have Utah, Michigan State, Florida, and Missouri. Oh, that's the meet I'm excited about. This Gainesville Regional, y'all. This Gainesville Regional. I'm hoping, even though my bracket is busted, I'm hoping Florida, Michigan State. Realistically, oh yeah, we'll have polls in the chat. Vote in the polls. It's fun. I love hearing your feedback. It's so much fun. And once again, y'all, I hope that each and every one of you understands that I'm not gonna cry. I'm not gonna cry. You're not gonna get it out of me today. How lucky I feel to be able to provide this for you. It is not something I take lightly. It is probably the most important responsibility I've ever had in my life. And thusly, like anytime there's a lag or there's a problem with the internet, I freak out. The anxiety through the roof, and I try to fix this as soon as possible. I really hope you guys enjoy this. I think to a fault, my biggest goal in life is to make other people happy because that makes me happy. Knowing and seeing the jubilation and the excitement and just like all the people in the chat from all over the world. You realize that you guys are all over the world, literally all over the world. That's with how the world is today and how much hurt there's in the world. For us to have 4 hours, we can just come together and just be silly and mindless and watch I'm crying and watch gymnastics together. That's everything for me. I'm not gonna cry. Okay, let me finish the show and then we'll start watching gymnastics. Love y'all too. And if no one told you today, you matter. Your hopes and aspirations and dreams are important. And don't let anybody tell you otherwise. I'll see you in a minute.